Like I said earlier, today we're going to try to go over filters, how to use them, how to play with them. I've changed my background to black. It's a little easier on the eyes, but on a standard Revit model, you're just going to have black and white, um, maybe grayscale. When it comes to reviewing your different systems and comparing uh, what may be normal or what may be emergency or what may be cold or hot water, a lot of times color is a fast and quick way to kind of tell the difference between the two. It's really simple. We've built some of these into the template, so it should automatically load. If not, you can tweak your template or tweak the settings. This particular one in the template here is just lighting, and we'll look at the settings we got. What I did, basically, their filters are. It's kind of like Excel. You can type in a little piece of formula and it knows what to look for. Um, it's really simple to do. Down here at the bottom, you can hit add. We'll make a new one called we'll look for the motions in the job. And then your next step is to find a category that it's going to be looking under. So in this situation, if we're looking for motions, they're going to be under electrical devices. So we'll narrow it down here. Well, and then you can filter. Now that you got a category, you can break down what it looks for within that category. I think the description may be the easiest one for us. We could do description contains, and then you can type in a word or a number or anything you've defined on that family. All right, so all that did was build it into a filter list. It's not really brought into the drawing yet. I'm going to make sure we pick the right category real quick. See, and I typed motion. So in this case, it wouldn't have done anything. We're actually calling it ceiling. So we'll need to change that filter real quick. And this one's, we went over earlier in another class about the template that we're using. And all of your VG settings on this sheet are locked into this sheet, but they're currently being overridden by this template that we have. So if I'm going to change any of the filtering, I need to go through this template. So that's what I'm doing here. That's why I didn't just go directly through the VG. All right, somebody chime in. What did we call that last one? Anybody? Nobody?
I think it was class.
I'll make another one. I didn't. Yeah, I didn't see it.
Help session or class session help, something like that.
We'll call this one OC. I didn't see it on the list. All right, there it is. All right, and it's a lighting device. Filter by description. Contains OCC. All right, now we can add it to our list here. And we can define what, you can actually, you can use this to change the color of what you see in the model. You can also change it to actually turn off what you see in the model. If you want to hide some things, some particular things, for instance, like in this particular lighting layout, if you wanted to turn off anything that was called a certain type or had a certain load to it, or you could even filter by loads that are larger or smaller than other things. But for this one, we'll just change the colors. Or not. Where's my accents here? Interesting. Well, we may have broken Revit, guys.
I hear that's not hard to do.
Yeah. Description contains, what else do we have? If it's not a description, family name? Let's go with family name. Maybe I picked the wrong category. There we go. Family name. Now, the filter has been inserted into the template, and this template is currently applied to this sheet to override the VG settings. So, not only is this first floor lighting sheet or model changed all our motions to blue, even the wall motion and the ceiling motion. But if we go to our second floor plan, it also did the same. It applied that filter universally. It can come in handy when you're reviewing. You may have a few issues with if you pick a yellow color or something that's really light and you go to print. You just need to remember on your print setting to either set it to all black, or if you prefer the grayscale, all you would do is simply go to the filter and just turn it off. So you could go ahead and print. You just click on it and remove. It's really handy for reviewing what you've done, and for us, what we like to use it for is any of these circuits, any of these electrical devices that aren't on a panel will have a white wire on it. Here's one right here. So we know later on we can go back and something's missing. Something either didn't get connected or hasn't been circuited to a panel. So as you can see here, here's a missing home run and a missing light fixture. So it's just another step or an aid in trying to wrap up your design. Any questions on filtering? All right. Something else I wanted to talk about was maybe digging into just general kind of a family and what it is and why we bring it in and how it's kind of a smart device. It's not just a hand-drawn box. This particular drawing, you see a lot of A fixtures, these 2x4s, but there's also an AF. It's actually the same family. It's actually the exact same family fixture, but in it you have different types. If you look here at the properties, this particular one is an AF, but you can edit and have multiple, in this case, light fixtures that are in this family that have a few little properties that are different. So in this case, we named these 2x2s, 2x4s, so that kind of gives you an indication of what's different. But it also comes in handy if For example, mechanically, if you've got the same fan you want to place in different locations, but you need to tag them differently, you can actually come here, duplicate, after you highlight the fan and call it, go ahead and call it out in your title here. And then when you start to tag, it's a smart tag, it'll pull that name. You don't have to use text. One of the perks in doing it that way is this particular fixture, when we tagged it, as you can see, it pulls that name out of the properties. You're not having to hand type text. And also, you don't have to worry about, when we move this fixture, having to remember to grab that text and move it along with it. It's linked to it. It's locked into it. In this family, though, even though we just see this box, which is our symbol, if we open it up, pretty much any family in this entire model, it could be mechanical, it could be electrical, it could be plumbing. You have this option at the top to edit the family. And what that does is it pulls out of the drawing what you're looking at. Your first view is going to be your 3D view. They try to simulate what you're going to see if you were walking into the building. Light fixtures are a little different. They put a simulated light web here. That's going to represent, it's actually upside down, but that's going to represent what you're going to see coming out of the ceiling. They have to draw a fake wall. That's what this is. So there's really no concern that you get this part right or need to edit it or play with it. Since your unit, your fixture has to host to something, you have to actually draw more or less a fake something also hosted. You'll see on mechanical equipment, you'll see on electrical equipment, this green circle, and this is your actual electrical connection. This is where if you needed to edit, hard edit, like in the family, change the voltage or the load or anything like that. But in most cases, we would do it here in the model under properties. But in this case, you can see here, electrical data is ghosted out. So it's dependent on what's been assigned to it here in the family. Digging into this a little deeper, if you're going to get a family, say, from a manufacturer's website, it may be correct in 3D, but it's not going to be correct in paper space or when we go to print a PDF. So in that case, you're going to need to have a symbol that you're ready to insert in the model. And this will just be a quick step as to how to do that. In your project browser, now that you've got your 3D view open, you're going to want to pick a ceiling view. Man, these jumped up here. You're going to need to pick the ceiling view or floor plan, depending on how you're going to see it in your model. In this case, since it's a light fixture, we're going to be in the ceiling plan view. So open up that view. You'll get an idea how it's going to look in paper space. And what you'll need to do is in this view, you're going to need to insert a symbol that represents what you want on the drawing. So in this case, for this light fixture, this triangle you see is a symbol for an emergency fixture. Earlier, I told you that there were 3 or 4 or 5 types of light fixtures hidden in this family. Well, in this particular case, that's why you see this triangle, this circle. These annotation symbols are what you're going to see in paper space. So in this situation, this 2x4, this rectangle would go with the 2x4. So to bring this in to look correct in paper space, you'll need to draw this annotation separately and bring it back in. Or we try to keep them in the Revit folder. So if you have a fixture, mechanically, electrically, plumbing, that you want to get from a manufacturer, you should be able to go to your Birmingham. Currently we have on Birmingham. You may need your server, your version of it. But in Revit, there will be a family folder with annotations that you can pull what you want to see in paper space onto your new 3D model, which is what this is. And to do this, it's really simple. You just go to Insert, and it's also a family. So you've gone from model space to opening a family, and in that family, you're going to open a separate family just for paper space. So we're going to open, we're going to insert, and I see these are under annotations, and I'm going to scroll down, lighting, 2x4, emergencies currently what we have, but let's load a 1x8. It's going to be large. We'll see what it looks like. And you don't see it now. All you've done is brought it into this family to edit. If you go back to your list on your browser, you've now populated this 1x4 right here. And you just click and drag and bring it onto the paper space. Now, since this is a unique situation that has multiple families or multiple fixtures available in this family, what we're going to do is set a parameter as to when we see this symbol. To do that, all you need to do is under Properties, override this visibility. Currently, when you bring in anything, it's going to set it to always be on and always be viewed. So if you've got a 3D model that you want to tweak in some way in paper space with maybe a checkbox or a way to make it look a little different, this is how you do it. You look at your visibility of whatever you've brought in family-wise. You can disable the visibility, so it turns it off. But this button here on the right is kind of like a formula button, so you can define when you see it on the paper. So in this situation, we'll make up a new, it's asking for a name here, but we can add a parameter called class example. And you'll set it to instance because you don't want to do it globally. You don't want to do it for every fixture. You just want to do it on the one you've played with the checkbox. And by default, it goes to yes, no, which is just a checkbox. Class examples activated, hit OK. And then when you're done, you've finished tweaking this family. You're ready to insert it back into the job. Now at this point, if this is something you're going to use permanently from now on, and this is your go-to, this is the family you want to keep, you can go up here to save and save it somewhere on your server to have for later. If not, if you just want it on this one job, you don't want to necessarily tweak another one or need this one anymore, all you would need to do is load into project, and that's only going to bring it into this drawing. When you load it, hello, come on. There we go. Now when you highlight any of the new families that you brought into the drawing or draw it from scratch, once you highlight them, you now have checkboxes in your properties to turn on or off that special symbol that you've made. So in our last situation, we had that class example, and there it is. It's a special symbol, and it's only going to turn on that one example. It's not going to be globally or universally for the whole job. So for lighting, it's a cool trick for if we're going to just show an emergency light or maybe show a stem coming off that represents a wall mount, something like that. So mechanically, there's a special symbol you need to see. I say in paper space, but in a plan view. This is a cool way to do it and a cool trick. And the checkbox is easy for everybody to use. As for families, there shouldn't be much more that you guys are going to be tweaking. Pretty much it's just what we see in paper. The 3D point of it, draw of it, you'll probably get from manufacturers more than you'll be tweaking it yourself. Um, if you do need help with it, let me know. I'll help you draw or shape or create whatever you want to do. Um, but really, at this point in the game, it's more getting it right on the PDFs and the 2D than it is coordination on the job for a walkthrough or a rendering.